We are here to provide unqualified advice to your questions. The Advice Bros have returned once more. We thought it was pertinent and timely. Well, I don't know if it's ever pertinent, but it's at least a thing we do.
Yeah, we can do this thing.
We can do it.
So therefore we will.
Yeah. So I've got some pre-solicited questions that I've taken from many of you all. We're not going to get through all of them, but we'll do our best. We got a beverage.
I have my Kirkland sparkling water.
Oh.
Lime.
Okay. Well, Alan, we're going to start off with one that is not super serious, although maybe serious for this person, depending on how much it's taking over their home. This first question, how should I organize my Blu-ray collection?
My first thing is like, wow, good for you. You still own Blu-rays. Honestly, this is a two-way street, man. Like if it's 10, just put them in a pile. If not, genre and year. You separate first by genre, meaning like horror, rom-com, and then the year of release.
I think you should just do the whole collection by year of release. If you don't know when the movie came out, you're
screwed, dude.
You'll never find anything. All right, a different direction. As former cast members, what do you think is the best age to take a child to Disney for the first time?
You know what? We are so wildly unqualified, but I'm going to be so super confident in this. It's crazy.
Just commit.
Let's see. I think you need to be old enough where the kid can remember it. So I'm going to say 6.
6 is, yeah. I think that I probably would have leaned like a 4. I think what you and I are both saying is like, no babies.
I understand, like from an entertainment perspective, you want to be able to talk to that kid and you want to be able to interact with that kid. And it gives you the best opportunity to do that.
Yeah. And I think the other thing I pull from here is my own, like, when is my first memory?
Right.
And I think it's around 4. But
like and especially for the dollar value that you're spending to go today, I want you to remember that trip.
Sure. Very different if you're a local though.
We were at an event with Undercover Tourist in Epcot, and we were just kind of chatting. And there was like, they had all the creators that Undercover Tourist sponsors. And one of which is like, her job is like, she specializes in like family. And I think she has some form of expertise in understanding child psychology. And she was like, you ask your kid three questions, like, do you need a hug? Is it too loud, or are you hungry? And that is the way to like suss out what's going on. I was like, damn. Parents are magicians.
Parents have the sole potential to either be superheroes or supervillains. I either can be a superhero and provide support, or I can create generational trauma. Like I have all of the power in my hand. Okay, speaking of parenting.
Oh, good.
How do I get my 5-year-old son to eat more foods than chicken nuggets, pizza, and tacos?
Oh, I actually do know about this. And it was, by the way, this wouldn't work if your kid is colorblind. Sorry ahead of time. But you introduce more colors to the color wheel, and you serve dessert as a part of the meal so that they don't think of dessert as something special.
Wait, hold on. Can you go back to the color wheel part?
So you introduce a bunch of the foods that are different parts of like the color wheel, and then serve dessert on the same plate as the meal, because that way, psychologically, dessert is no longer special. It's just on the plate.
Interesting. I enjoy that. I still mostly eat chicken nuggets and pizza and tacos, and so I don't understand what the problem is.
No worries. Listen, man, that's fine. I've definitely never snuck anything into the food I've made you before, so like that's fair.
Like drugs?
Yes, Max, like drugs. Yeah. Yes, Max.
We don't do cocaine.
We don't do cocaine, chat. Sounds like we do. Oh God.
Let's move into something that's not about parenting. So this question, I think, is an important one for us to consider. Mm-hmm. And while we have not personally lived this, we certainly have people in our extended family that have, okay? For work, I recently had to go undercover and infiltrate the world of street racing. I know I need to concentrate on my job, but I'm getting so enamored with the culture and the people. What do I do, and how do I tell them my real job?
Oh, well, let me tell you, man.
So like I said, not us, but our extended family has gone through this.
We were literally what felt like in the passenger seat. Well, I'm just going to lead with this. If your profession has to do with law enforcement, then I think that we might be able to help you specifically with that. If it is maybe, like door-to-door sales, less help, we can't really provide that.
Undercover salesman.
They can't know that I work for Panasonic and sell DVD TV combos.
I had to find out because I've heard my DVD players are getting stolen from a truck, and so I got to know where the shipments are going. I don't know what this voice is, but this is the voice of a DVD seller. Here's my suggestion. When you make friends in the street racing scene is first, you want to be a real, like, arrogant asshole, okay?
100%.
You want them to doubt you. Right?
Then
you want to win them over by being there when no one else is. For instance, let's say they were running from the cops. You could pick them up in your car and help them get away. Now you're in the group. And inevitably, when the street racing turns into DVD theft, one of their friends is going to get shot in the flank. And the only way to save his life is going to be to call in emergency helicopters or he'll die. And this is going to be a moment where you can reveal your actual job, but the family is going to be required to go with it because they don't want their friend to die. And it's going to have big repercussions in the future. We'll find out more about those later in the series.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Hey, this question is important, I think. My best friend is moving across the country soon to be closer to me and his family. What should I buy him as a housewarming present?
Oh, interesting. Just a big ass neon sign.
Oh, yeah?
Of their favorite Pokemon, maybe. I think that's probably a good idea. Honestly, like, it depends. Have they contacted their local utilities yet? Maybe you can be there to help with the utilities setup. Depending on where they're moving, it requires emotional support.
Multiple people asked, how do you know when enough is enough and it's time to look elsewhere for employment? One of the people said, my job has amazing benefits. I like what I do, but the company culture is not great for my mental health.
Wow, what an interesting question. I think everybody's barometer is different, by the way. And I say this knowing full well that there are folks who I've worked with in the past who are just the angriest people known to man. And I'm like, you would do better if you just left this organization today. And they refuse to do so because of comfort. So I think that's the first step. Assess your comfort level. Is the work impacting your personal life? Then that to me, that is the measure of it's time to step away. Also, like, here's the deal that nobody's going to tell you, like, your mental health is worth any dollar amount. And I get it that that's super easy to say and super hard to execute on, but having taken the leap because I was working for a gaslighting narcissistic boss, like, I have interviews lined up for a job. I hope I get an offer in the next week, which is sort of my litmus test there of like when it's okay to leave. But I was like, I can't do another week of this at all.
I am currently missing one of my favorite rings. Where the hell did I put it, or where should I look for it?
What? Well, I guess the first question is, what type of ring are we talking about here?
Toe ring.
Toe ring. Oh, yeah, wow.
They're currently missing one of their favorite toe rings.
If it's a toe ring, I suggest checking shoes. Seems like a good place to start.
Shoe. I have a different idea.
Tell me.
I think it's on your toe.
Ooh. A second and frankly, Max, more plausible option is it is with a group of hobbits and other misfits making their way across a barren landscape.
What kind of Disney tattoo should I get? Subtle or all out?
Oh, I mean, God. I like
Alan,
subtle
you
tattoo.
just went for a consultant today.
Yeah.
You are ready to talk about tattooing.
Yeah. I'm a subtle Disney person. If it were me and I was getting something from Disney, I'd pick elements of a movie or maybe the art style of a movie and then have that brought in. For example, I like the art style of Hercules. So like the clouds that you have around Mount Olympus, like I would pick something like that as a backdrop to something Disney related. I know what it's from and it's distinct enough to be unique. And I like that idea.
I get asked a lot about when I'm going to get a Mr. Toad tattoo or a Disney tattoo. And I am going to be honest, probably never. Hey, it's your body. No. You should get whatever you want that will make you happy. Okay, Alan, is it better to watch the Star Wars movies in the order they were released or chronologically?
God. Ugh. Release order. Mine is 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9. Because chronological order, I don't know. Why would you start with the Phantom Menace?
It's the Darth Vader story, Alan. That's why you would start with the Phantom Menace. That's what
I understand.
That's what the story is. I want you to like Star Wars, and therefore I would not start you in Episode 1 unless you're a child. I think if you're a child, it's a great place to start. I watched it 7 times in theaters. I loved that movie. For the record, that was topped by the amount of times I saw Episode 7 in theaters, and I was not a child for that one, but they were giving these limited release posters away, and so they give one every week, and I went to get them. That is after I had already watched it multiple times. Anyway, I will, however, recommend that if you're watching Fast and the Furious for the first time, that you watch it chronologically.
You gotta do that chronologically.
You gotta do 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. You gotta move 3 to between 6 and 7. That's important. And you just gotta suspend disbelief for why it's 2015 and there are 2001 cars. It's not important. Or why they're on a T-Mobile Sidekick when iPhones are out. I'm a head cake decorator at a small bakery, and I have been for about 8 years. Everyone always asks me if I will make my own wedding cake when I get married. They are in a serious relationship, by the way. Should I make my own wedding cake or have someone else make it?
Listen, I think you and I are going to be aligned on this. Have somebody else do that.
100%. I don't even know what planning a wedding is like, but I can tell you it's stressful.
Dude, it's awful. Also, like, I had this moment in the middle of wedding planning where I was like, this is the most bonkers
Yeah.
ever. And Molly and I had this conversation together. We're like, we are literally planning just a party, like this all expenses paid party.
Correct.
For our friends.
Thank you.
It's great. It's a fantastic celebration.
I appreciated
but
the mashed potatoes.
Yeah, dude, we had a mashed potato bar. It was incredible.
It was
but
great.
like, there was a moment between this. I was like, this is just crazy.
All right, we're gonna go deep again now. This one
good.
is spicy. Asked by multiple people. How do you start the conversation with your manager that you feel like you aren't being compensated correctly for the amount of work that you are doing?
Oh, I can help you. This is an easy one.
Alan might say it's easy. It's hard in practice.
Having the conversation is hard, but
conversation is hard.
it becomes easier the more prepared you are. So item 1 is understand the market data for your position. It might not even be a title because a lot of people will stop the research at the title of the job that they have. What's the pay range for this title? Yeah, they're a bunch of nonsense. What work are you doing? What are the things you're executing on a day-to-day basis? And have those things written down and have examples of them. Because the common trope for a corporation is to pull out your job description and then say, well, based on your JD, this is what you should be compensated. And the reply to that is, that's great that that's my JD, but here's the work I'm doing. And then I think that salary secrecy as a part of an organization is terrible. Have conversations with your peers. Even if your peers are in a more senior position than you, you need to understand what that ecosystem is. And then based upon that information, understand what the discrepancy is, and then walk in knowing what your number is.
Or they're going to say no.
Or they'll say no, and then you have to assess your options.
That's a huge possibility. Okay, I'm a sore loser.
Yeah.
And generally difficult to be around in game nights. Should I learn to care less?
I think you need to reframe what you care about. It's good that you're passionate, but don't let your passion over this like existential win be greater than your passion for your friends and family.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I was a really sore loser. I was not good about it at all. I was very competitive. I'm still very competitive. And my mom recognized this. So she would call me into the living room 3 to 4 nights a week. And she would say, we're going to play Scrabble now. And then she would just absolutely destroy me in Scrabble. And then I could not get up from the table until I shook her hand and said, good game. I'm not saying that that's the best practice in the world, but it did teach me to not be a sore loser. My childhood best friend and I grew apart over the years. I keep trying to reach out. They often don't respond. Should I keep trying to keep the friendship alive?
Oh God, this is a really tough. Listen, I'll just be vulnerable for a second. Max, you know this. I'm not the person to ask about childhood friendships. I don't have a lot of them. That's not like a sad thing. That's just the real.
It's a life thing. You moved a lot.
And it's a flaw of mine. And I know this about myself because of the way I grew up. I can be really impersonal and I do a really good job of cutting people out of my life. And it's not intentional either, which makes it worse. I have to be conscious about responding to people because I love them and I want them to know that I'm listening to them and I hear them. But if somebody does not respond to me, and I was to give somebody objective advice, would be like, be clear with the parameters of how you're feeling, be objective as possible, and then outline what you're seeing, how you're feeling, and the impact of sort of actions or inaction on how you feel. And then just be clear of like the consequence of that is, hey, listen, if this isn't working out, like if we have grown to this point, then maybe we reduce the amount of contact, because it sounds to me that there's an emotional weight to this. And so it should be treated with care. But also you need to remember to take care of yourself too.
Alan, my clothes don't have any or enough pockets. And we in the Ma'am fam don't use bags.
Ooh, that is true.
Name something you must have to be prepared for a day at a theme park.
Bag.
Let me see bag. No, it's not on the board at all.
You guys just holding all your stuff?
holding all of your stuff?
What should I do to carry my belongings?
You know what? You got hands.
Everybody's got them.
Everybody? Well, no.
Nope, not everybody. A lot of people got them.
You know, if you don't have pockets, then start buying shit with pockets.
Yeah, women, just buy shit with pockets.
Just buy shit with pockets.
You know how readily accessible that is? It's really a you problem. Don't even get me started on the sizing system. Why is not
arbitrary numbers?
Why are there numbers that don't make any sense? It's a different thing in different stores, Alan. I don't understand it.
It no sense at all. Every time that I have to watch Molly go through like this weird, like it is the most sadistic game of trial and error I have ever seen of like, I'm going to purchase approximately $3 million worth of clothes. Then they are all going to arrive and then I will set them down. They will all be tried on and then I will have to carry 98% of them back to the car because it's the same article of clothing from the same manufacturer that is the same size. And if it's entirely different, what is happening?
You know, it reminds me of Disney costuming.
It is Disney costuming.
It reminds me of Disney costuming, which was probably the reason I quit. Actually, it's not the reason I quit, but only because I became a manager and started wearing my own clothes. Because I would go in and get pants and I would check out 5 that all said the same numbers and they all fit differently. And I just don't understand how that's possible.
I went to costuming at Magic Kingdom.
Sure.
I was running late. And the reason that I was running late is I tried to iron the only pair of pants that I wanted that fit me. And I had my iron setting 1 notch too high.
Oh, no.
And I melted the pants together.
Of course.
So I picked up a pair of pants that was at the time a 32 waist. And then I was like, that doesn't seem right. So then I went and I grabbed the 30, 32, 34, 36, 38. I grabbed them. Literally, the 38 was the same size as the 30.
Yeah.
I held them up next to each other. And I was like, this is going to cause someone to literally inflict pain upon themselves because of the emotional
Not on
pain.
themselves. No, not on themselves, Alan. You shouldn't have grabbed the metric pants, Alan. That was the issue.
True. I have to grab...
They had an aisle of metric pants. It's really a you problem.
Really, this is on me.
You problem.
On me.
You went to the metric aisle.
What I'm saying is, back to the pockets question. God hands, and I'm sure our body has plenty of crevices.
I have a different suggestion.
Oh, tell me.
Juggle.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Very reasonable.
Learn to juggle.
Reasonable suggestion.
The more things you can juggle, the more things you can carry.
As a third option, Max, you learn magic and you carry a top hat, and instead of a rabbit, you just store everything in the hat. And
I love where you're at. I have a different idea. I'm going to keep my things behind your ear.
Oh, yes.
I can keep everything behind your ear.
You don't even have 1 ear. Maybe you do have 1 ear, in which case good for you. You got 2 though.
Oh, that was time, and I'm glad that we went down that. Now for something completely different. How do you feel proud of yourself and stay humble?
Yo, I don't know if I have the emotional capacity to answer this. Dude, I don't know, man. I like how you're like, I don't know, dude.
You're the best person to answer this question now.
The problem is I don't have a lot pride.
Let's be authentic and vulnerable that you are great at one of these things. Did you submit this question or?
No, I didn't submit this question. So the reality and like the deep-seated nature of this is like, I did not get told. People were proud of me a lot when I was a kid. So like, I don't have a lot that I think I should be proud of. The thing that I need to do is just whatever the next is, because maybe then I'll get that response. But the problem is now, like, my brain is conditioned to not accept it because I just don't believe you, which is like also why therapy is good. I don't know if I'm qualified to give advice on this. So I think if you are proud of something that you do, that is good and you should strive for it, but don't let it consume you, because there's always going to be somebody better at you at something. Period.
Alan, I want to break up with my boyfriend, but we have a Disney trip planned at the end of the year. Should I just wait until after the trip?
No! You cancel and rebook. Golly.
I agree. No, do not wait 6 months in a bad relationship just to go to Disney World. It's not that magical.
It's better going alone and having a good time than going with somebody and being miserable. They're going to taint that entire experience.
Alan, I think this will be our last question. It's a really serious one. GameStop has a new CEO. Should I put all of my investments into GME?
To the moon, baby! To the moon!
Diamond hands! This is not financial advice. Please do not take financial advice.
Don't do that. Don't actually do that. Please don't do that.
We're going to the moon!